Over the course of these investigations, I've had the opportunity to meet many scholars with varying theories and ideas about evidence for the Bible's historical account. To better understand these differing viewpoints, I've asked scholars to go into depth with their proposals. This has created the Thinking Man Films lecture series.
Our DIG organization is the Associates for Biblical Research, and we have been working in the highlands of Israel now for 4 decades. I finished up the last 4 seasons of excavation at Kirbet El Makader as the director of excavations there, taking over for Bryant Wood. And then we launched our dig at Shiloh 2 years ago, and so season 3 will be this coming summer. So we've now accumulated enough evidence that we can begin to draw some tentative conclusions, and it's some really exciting stuff. Shiloh is big stuff. This was Israel's first capital. So when Jerusalem was still a pagan city, people went to Shiloh to connect with God. I mean, Hannah and Elkanah and Joshua and Caleb and Eli and Samuel. I mean, these are the people who were there with the same basic human questions that we have, which is, how do I connect with God? How do I repair my broken relationships with other people? And the sacrificial system at Shiloh enabled them to do both vertically and horizontally to restore relationships. So we want to make some faith application, but I'm going to stay pretty close to the script, at least until we get to the Q&A section. Well, my new favorite Bible verse is Jeremiah 7:12, go now to Shiloh. So let's go. So let's imagine you're volunteers with me on the archaeological dig at Shiloh. Breakfast is at 4 a.m., so you will have set your alarm clock for 3:45 or 3:30 or how long it takes you to get pretty in the morning so that you can be at breakfast somewhere between 4 and 4:15. The bus pulls out at 4:59. We do devotions on the way to Shiloh, which is about a 30 to 35-minute drive. No traffic in the morning, of course. And when you arrive, this is what you see. The sun will be coming up at about 5:35 as you're walking up the hill. It'll take us about 15 minutes to get our tools and so forth organized for the day. So by 6 a.m., your trowel's in the ground. You've already had a good breakfast. You're awake and you're ready to go. You can see here a beautiful overview of the site. It's about 6 to 6.5 acres inside the walled fortification. And although it's not a national park, it runs like a national park because the local community has adopted the tell. We have a security fence all the way around the site and the modern settlement, so we have no vandalism to deal with. Now, vandalism is a big problem in the Middle East with archaeological sites. We fought it for many years at our previous sites, but at Shiloh, thank God, we don't have to deal with that, so we're able to really do very careful and slow work that we need to do. So this is the view that you would see in the morning. This is part of our team from last year. As Tim mentioned, we have the largest archaeological team of any site digging in Israel and perhaps the entire Middle East. But you can see part of our group, and we're sitting and standing on the glacis, the earthen embankment that surrounds the site, and that ancient fortification wall. It was an Amorite infrastructure that the Israelites inherited, and I'll talk a little bit more about that, but that's where we are congregated here on the northern slope. And this gives you just another aerial shot. 5 years ago, when I first flew a drone at an archaeological site, everybody stopped working. They got out their cameras. They were saying, oh my goodness, it's a drone. We've heard about these things. And now we do it twice a day, and we take about 1,000 photos a day. I used to have a photographer, and now I have a photographic team, a creative team. So there's people that are all day long crunching video, compressing it into 3D modeling, and then doing all kinds of creative things with the photographs that we're getting. So it's just amazing the technology that we have, and we are on the cutting edge of what technology can do with archaeology. Remember that Jesus said that a scribe of the kingdom draws out of his treasures things both old and new. So we're actually dealing with the ancient past, but we're dealing also with cutting edge technologies and bringing those worlds together. We'll talk a little bit today about wet sifting and why that's an important important new technology that's revolutionizing the way that we're excavating. We're also using 3D modeling. This coming summer, we're bringing infrared and ultraviolet lighting into the field so that as we are examining pottery at the reading table, before we're discarding anything, there are scratches sometimes, there are glyptic remains that we can't see with the naked eye, but with infrared and ultraviolet lighting we can. Now, of course, all this costs money, you can imagine, to build wet sifting stations and 3D software and infrared and ultraviolet lighting, but that's our commitment, is we're going to do this, we're going to do it right, and we're going to do it with excellence, and it's actually become a model then of how an archaeological dig should be run, and we're excited to share that with others and to help them implement that technology as well. Our supervisors no longer record data on paper. Now they've all got iPads in the field. They're entering data as it's coming in. They're constantly entering data, taking pictures, which are then uploaded, making notes. All of that data is then coming to me on my larger iPad, and I'm then able to see what's going on in every square. So as I direct the excavation, I'm making data-driven decisions in the field. It's not just instinctive that I've got a feeling that we should, work over here or concentrate our efforts there. I'm actually crunching numbers and making data-driven decisions. So it's terribly exciting.